I never thought I'd be the one to step outside the lines of my marriage. For years, I prided myself on being the steady one. The woman who kept everything together while life threw its curveballs. My husband and I met in our early 20s, back when we were both figuring out our careers and dreaming about a future that seemed full of promise. He was charming in that quiet, reliable way, always on time, always with a plan. We built a life in a mid-sized city, the kind where you know your neighbors but not too well. Our home was a modest 2-story house with a small backyard where we'd grill on weekends and watch the kids play when they were little. Our days fell into a rhythm that felt comforting at first. He'd leave for his job at the office early, handling accounts and meetings, while I'd drop the kids off at school and head to my part-time role at a local clinic, assisting with patient records and scheduling. Evenings were about homework help, dinner, usually something simple like pasta or stir-fry, and collapsing in front of the TV. We laughed at the same shows, shared inside jokes about the kids' antics, and on good nights, we'd talk about our days over a glass of wine. But somewhere along the line, that rhythm started to feel like a rut. It wasn't dramatic. There were no big fights or slammed doors. Just a slow erosion like water wearing down stone. I started noticing the little things. How he'd scroll through his phone during dinner, nodding absent-mindedly at my stories. How our conversations shifted from dreams to logistics. Who was picking up groceries, whose turn it was to handle the laundry. Intimacy became routine. Something we did out of habit rather than desire. I'd lie awake afterward, staring at the ceiling fans spinning lazily, wondering if this was all there was. At 38, with 2 kids in middle school, I felt like I'd aged a decade in the last 5 years. The mirror showed fine lines around my eyes, and I caught myself pulling at them, wishing for the energy I used to have. It wasn't that I didn't love him. I did, in that deep, familiar way that comes from sharing a mortgage and parenting together. But love isn't always enough to fill the gaps. I tried to bridge them, suggested date nights, even booked a weekend getaway once. He went along, but it felt forced, like we were actors in our own lives. He'd check his work email during dinner, and I'd pretend not to notice. Meanwhile, the kids were thriving, oblivious to the undercurrents. Our son was into soccer, always coming home with muddy cleats, and our daughter had taken up drawing, filling the fridge with her sketches. That's when I met him, the other man. It wasn't at a bar or some illicit app. Nothing that cliché. It happened at the community center where I volunteered a few hours a week, helping organize events for family. He was a single dad, recently divorced, coaching the kids' after-school program. Tall, with a warm smile and eyes that actually looked at you when you spoke. We started chatting during breaks, about parenting challenges, the chaos of school schedules, light stuff. But there was a spark, something I hadn't felt in years. He'd ask questions that went beyond the surface, like what books I was reading or what made me laugh hardest as a kid. At first I brushed it off. Harmless flirting, I told myself. But then came the coffee runs after sessions. We'd sit in the parking lot, engines off, talking until the sun dipped low. He shared about his ex, how the divorce had gutted him, but taught him to appreciate the small moments. I opened up about feeling invisible in my own home, words spilling out before I could stop them. It felt good to be seen, truly seen, without the weight of expectation. One afternoon, as we wrapped up, he leaned in and kissed me. It was quick, tentative, but it ignited something dormant inside me. I pulled back, heart racing, muttering excuses about needing to get home. That night I cooked dinner on autopilot, my mind replaying the moment. My husband noticed I was distracted, asked if everything was okay. I smiled, said it was just a long day. But lying in bed, I couldn't sleep. The guilt was there, sharp and insistent. But so was the thrill. Over the next weeks the conversations turned deeper. We'd text during the day. Innocent at first, then laced with innuendo. I found myself checking my phone more, heart skipping, when his name popped up. It was addictive, This secret world where I felt alive again. I rationalized it. No one was getting hurt. It was just words. But deep down, I knew it was crossing a line. Then came the twist I didn't see coming. One evening, after a particularly intense exchange, I deleted the messages like always. But as I set my phone down, my husband picked it up to check the weather app. My stomach dropped. He didn't say anything, just handed it back with a puzzled look. Later in bed, he turned to me and said, "You seem happier lately. What's changed?" I froze, searching his face for suspicion, but there was none. Just genuine curiosity. In that moment, the guilt hit harder, but so did the resolve. I wasn't ready to stop. The days blurred into a haze of stolen moments and mounting tension. I'd wake up early before the alarm, my mind already drifting to him. Mornings were the same. Packing lunches, herding the kids out the door, kissing my husband goodbye with a peck that felt increasingly mechanical. At work, I'd lose focus during data entry, my thoughts wandering to our last conversation. He had this way of making me feel witty, desired, qualities I'd forgotten I possessed. We met in neutral places at first, the park near the community center where we'd walk the trails, hands brushing accidentally on purpose. The air was crisp with fall leaves crunching underfoot, and we'd talk about everything. Our childhoods, regrets, what we wanted from life. He grew up in a big family, always the middle child fighting for attention, which explained his easy empathy. I shared about my own upbringing, strict parents who valued stability over passion, steering me toward a safe career and marriage. The physical pull was undeniable. Our first real encounter happened in his car after a late event. The kids were at home with my husband, who thought I was at a volunteer meeting. We parked in a quiet lot, the windows fogging as things escalated. It was rushed, awkward even, but electrifying. Afterward, I drove home with shaking hands, replaying it all. The guilt gnawed at me during dinner, as I served chicken and rice, smiling at the kids' stories from school. My husband complimented the meal, and I felt like a fraud. As weeks turned to months, the affair deepened. We'd sneak away for longer. Lunch breaks extended into afternoons at a motel on the outskirts, the kind with faded curtains and humming vending machines. There, away from prying eyes, I let go. He'd trace my skin, whispering things that made me blush. And for those hours, the world outside ceased to exist. But reality always crept back. I'd shower twice before heading home, paranoid about scents or marks. Emotionally, it was a roller coaster. I'd swing from euphoria to despair. One night after a fight with my husband over something trivial, like whose turn it was to unload the dishwasher, I texted him in tears. He called, his voice soothing, pulling me back from the edge. "You deserve more," he'd say, and I'd believe it, if only for a moment. But then I'd see my husband playing board games with the kids, his laughter genuine, and the shame would flood in. I started noticing changes in myself. I dressed better, took more care with my hair, even lost a few pounds from the stress. Friends commented on my glow, and I'd laugh it off as a new skincare routine. My husband seemed to pick up on it too. He initiated more, suggesting we try counseling. "To reconnect," he said. I agreed, but half-heartedly. The sessions were eye-opening, talking about communication breakdowns, unmet needs. He admitted to being buried in work, promising to make time. For a brief period, things improved at home. More hugs, shared chores, even a spontaneous picnic in the backyard. But the pull to the other man was stronger. I told myself I could balance both worlds, give my family what they needed while stealing joy for myself. It was delusional, but it kept me going. The twist came during one of our motel meetings. We were tangled in sheets, post-bliss, when his phone buzzed. He glanced at it, then set it aside. But curiosity got me. I peeked while he was in the bathroom. It was a text from another woman. "Miss you already. Last night was amazing." My heart sank. He wasn't exclusive, This wasn't special. I confronted him, voice trembling. He admitted it casually, said he was seeing others, that he thought we were just having fun. The betrayal stung deeper than I expected. I stormed out, driving home in a fury, tears blurring the road. That night, as I lay beside my husband, his steady breathing a contrast to my turmoil, I realized the irony. I'd become the very thing I despised, chasing illusions. But instead of ending it, the anger fueled a reckless decision. I'd confront my own marriage head-on, whatever the cost. The confrontation with him, the other man, left me reeling for days. I blocked his number, deleted our history, and threw myself into routine as if it could erase the ache. Work became a refuge. I'd bury myself in patient files, organizing them meticulously, finding solace in the order. At home, I overcompensated, baking cookies for the kids, planning family movie nights with popcorn, blankets on the couch. My husband noticed the shift, pulling me aside one evening after the kids were in bed. "You're everywhere lately," he said, his hand on my arm. "What's going on?" I wanted to confess then, spill everything and beg for forgiveness. But the words stuck in my throat. Instead, I mumbled about stress at work and hugged him tightly, inhaling his familiar scent of soap and aftershave. We made love that night, and for the first time in months it felt real, not performative. Lying there afterward, his arm draped over me, I wondered if I could salvage this, if the affair had been a wake-up call rather than a death knell. But secrets have a way of festering. A week later at the community center, I ran into him. He approached with that same smile, apologizing profusely. "I was an idiot," he said. "You're the one I want." Part of me thrilled at the words, but wisdom won out. I told him it was over, walked away with my head high. It hurt, but it was liberating. Life settled into a tentative normalcy. The counseling sessions continued. We delved into resentments I'd harbored, his emotional distance, my unspoken needs. He opened up about his fears, job insecurity, aging parents, the pressure to provide. It humanized him, reminded me why I'd fallen for him initially. We started small rituals, morning coffee together, no phones allowed. Weekend walks where we'd hold hands like teenagers. The kids picked up on the improved vibe. Our son asked if we were being extra nice because of something he did, which made us laugh. Our daughter drew a family portrait, all smiles and stick figure hugs. Seeing it on the fridge twisted the knife of guilt deeper. How close had I come to shattering this? Yet, the emotional fallout lingered. I'd have moments of panic, flashbacks to stolen kisses, waves of longing that hit at odd times, like while folding laundry or driving to the store. I'd pull over, breathe deeply, remind myself of the stakes. Therapy helped. I started individual sessions, unpacking the why. It wasn't just boredom, it was a midlife reckoning, questioning if I'd settled too soon, if there was more to me than wife and mother. One afternoon, while sorting mail, I found an envelope addressed to my husband from an unfamiliar sender. Inside was a handwritten note. "Thinking of you. Call me." No signature, but the perfume scent was unmistakable. Feminine, floral. My mind raced. Was this payback? Or coincidence? I confronted him that evening, note in hand. He looked genuinely baffled, then recognition dawned. It was from a colleague, an old friend from work, inviting him to a reunion. Nothing more. Relief washed over me, but so did paranoia. Had my actions invited this suspicion into our lives? As months passed, trust rebuilt brick by brick. We planned a family trip, a drive to the coast, staying in a rented cabin. The kids were excited, packing swimsuits and snacks. On the road, with the windows down and music playing, I felt a glimmer of hope. But life, unpredictable as ever, threw another curve. During the trip, my husband got a call from work. A promotion offer, but it meant relocating to another city branch. He was thrilled. I feigned enthusiasm. Inside, turmoil brewed. Moving meant uprooting the kids, leaving my job, starting over. It also meant escaping the ghosts of my affair. We discussed endlessly. Pros, better pay, new adventures. Cons, disrupting routines, making new friends. The kids were split. Our son eager for change, daughter anxious. In the end, we decided to go. Packing boxes became therapeutic, a metaphor for fresh starts. But as we loaded the mid-sized sedan, I couldn't shake the unease. What if the move exposed cracks we'd papered over? The new city was a fresh canvas. Busier streets, taller buildings, a hum of energy that contrasted our old, quieter life. We settled into a similar house, this one with a bigger kitchen where I experimented with recipes, trying to make it feel like home. The kids adjusted faster than expected. Our son joined a new soccer team, coming home with stories of practices and teammates. Our daughter found an art club, her drawings evolving from simple sketches to intricate landscapes. My husband thrived in his new role, longer hours but more fulfillment. He'd come home energized, sharing details over dinner. Challenges met. Teams led. I landed a full-time position at another clinic, managing a small team, which gave me purpose beyond the home. Evenings evolved, board games replaced TV marathons, and we'd take family bike rides in the nearby park, the wind whipping through our hair. But beneath the surface, my past loomed. I'd dream of the affair, vivid, guilt-laced scenes that left me waking in sweats. In therapy, I explored forgiveness, not just for him, my husband, though unknowing, but for myself. Empathy isn't always about the other person, my therapist said. It's often about unmet parts of ourselves. It rang true. I'd sought validation externally when I needed to find it within. One evening, during a rare quiet moment, my husband suggested renewing our vows. A small ceremony, just us and the kids. To mark the new chapter, he said, eyes soft. I agreed, touched by the gesture. Planning it brought us closer. Choosing simple rings, writing personal promises. The day came, a sunny afternoon in a public garden, with an efficient friend presiding. We exchanged words of commitment, the kids beaming as witnesses. It felt healing, a recommitment, not just to each other, but to the family we'd built. Yet life doesn't tie up neatly. A few months later, I ran into an old acquaintance at a grocery store. Someone from our previous circle who volunteered at the community center. We chatted casually, but her eyes held a knowing glint. Heard you moved suddenly, she said. Everything okay? I nodded, but her next words chilled me. That coach guy asked about you, said you two were close. Panic surged. Had rumors spread? I brushed it off, but it planted seeds of doubt. Back home, I became hyper-vigilant, second-guessing interactions. My husband noticed, asking if I was all right. I confided partial truths. Missing old friends. Adjustment blues. He held me, promising we'd visit soon. The vulnerability strengthened us. We communicated more openly, sharing fears and dreams. The real test came during a work conference for him, out of town for a week. Alone with the kids, routines amplified my isolation. One night after bedtime stories, I scrolled social media absent-mindedly. A message popped up. From him. The other man. On a platform I'd forgotten to block. Miss our talks. Hope you're well. Temptation flickered, but I deleted it. Blocked him anew. It was a victory. Small, but significant. When my husband returned, gifts in hand, trinkets for the kids, a necklace for me. We celebrated with a homemade feast. Over wine he shared conference highlights, then paused. I almost didn't go, he admitted. Worried about leaving you. His honesty moved me. I realized trust was mutual, fragile, but rebuildable. As the year unfolded, unexpected joys emerged. Our son scored his first goal in a game, the family cheering from the sidelines. Our daughter entered an art contest, winning honorable mention. These moments grounded me, reminders of what's truly valuable. But the psychological nuances persisted. I'd catch myself reflecting on choices, wondering about alternate paths. Therapy helped navigate them, emphasizing growth over regret. My marriage, once stagnant, now felt dynamic, evolving with effort from both sides. Years blended as we navigated the new normal. The kids grew, our son towering over me by high school, focused on academics and sports. Our daughter blossoming into a thoughtful teen. Her art a window into her world. Family dinners became debates on current events, laughter echoing through the house. My husband and I carved out couple time, evening walks, weekend getaways to nearby lakes, where we'd fish or read in companionable silence. Professionally, I advanced, promoted to supervisor, mentoring younger staff. It boosted my confidence, spilling into home life. My husband supported it fully, adjusting his schedule for school events. Our bond deepened through shared challenges. His father's health scare requiring trips to visit. My bout with anxiety, managed with therapy, and his unwavering presence. The affair faded to a distant memory, a lesson etched in my psyche. I'd reflect on it during quiet moments, driving alone or folding laundry, acknowledging the pain it caused, even unspoken. It taught me about vulnerability, the importance of voicing needs before they fester. We attended workshops together, learning communication tools that transformed arguments into discussions. One unpredictable twist came via a family revelation. During a holiday gathering at his parents', roast turkey, pies cooling on the counter, his sister confided in me. She'd had an affair years ago, nearly ending her marriage. It was the wake-up I needed, she whispered. Her story mirrored mine, offering unexpected solidarity. I didn't share mine, but it normalized the human frailty, reducing my isolation. As the kids prepared for college, applications, tours, tearful goodbyes, empty nest loomed. We planned accordingly. Hobbies like gardening, where we'd plant vegetables in the backyard. Travel dreams, sketching itineraries over coffee. The transition was bittersweet. Video calls with the kids filled the gaps, their independence a testament to our parenting. In quieter times I'd journal, raw entries capturing emotions from joy to doubt. It became therapeutic, a confessional outlet akin to those online forums where people bare souls. Reflecting on my journey, I saw growth, from a woman seeking external thrills to one embracing internal fulfillment. The final chapter unfolded subtly. On our 20th anniversary, we renewed vows again, this time publicly, with friends and family. Standing there, exchanging rings under string lights, I felt profound gratitude, not for perfection, but for resilience. Life's unpredictability, job changes, health scares, emotional detours, had tested us, but we'd emerged stronger. Now in the everyday, morning routines, shared glances across the table, I find contentment. The affair, once a shadow, now a faded scar, reminding me that relationships aren't static. They require tending, honesty, and grace. And in that realization, I found peace.